use me however you can. Well, can I just tell you that I'm from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I've served on church staffs for 30 years, but I have never dealt with a hurricane. I mean, maybe the aftermath, a little bit of rain that gets up there, but you know, when we first started thinking about this, we realized, you know, hey, you know, we don't really know what we're doing here. At least I don't. And Dr. D is in charge of pastoral care and men's ministry, and so, you know, we were trying to figure out what can we do as a church to go out and help people. And we had a pastor friend of mine from North Texas who came and spoke to us on Monday, on Labor Day, and kind of gave us some guidelines and told us a few things that we might want to think about as we go out and we're helping people. And in the meantime, Pastor had asked for people in the church, if you need help, you know, call in or let us know somehow. And by the way, continue to do that. If you still have things that you need help with, as a church family member, you let us know. But also, you can let us know if you have friends or other neighbors in the area that need help, and we will do our best to try to get to those. I think we had a list of 22. Is it 22 that we ended up with? 22 requests. Some of them were major. Some of them were, you know, I need everything taken out of my house. I need the flooring removed. I need the furniture removed. I need the sheetrock mitigated. Everything. And all the way from that to, you know, some people had, well, my car was flooded, and you know, I filed with the insurance company, but I might need a little bit of help with a rental car until they can figure it out. Different things like that. So some of them were just calling to let us know what their status was, and they said, we don't really need any help, just need prayer, you know, from the church. So we just started, and we looked at that list that first day, and we started looking at it and trying to say, hey, you know, what are the Dale Cuevas, Pastor Ruben's wife. She is so organized. I mean, she put this list together for us, and she color-coded it. And the red means that's the biggest, most urgent jobs. And then there was yellow, and then there was green, and so we started working our way down the list. And we now have. Do you happen to know how many out of that list that we've been able to help, Dr. D? So 7 major homes that we've been able to help with, 7. And then the other ones, we're working on them because they're mostly like maybe financial needs. So we're working on those too. But as far as the biggies, we've been able to. As a matter of fact, we pretty much completed our list on yesterday. Oh, we've got more now, but I know we've got more because one of our ladies in the church, and this is some of the things that I wanted to tell you about that happened. One of our ladies that we were helping in the church, we were there for a day and a half, you know, taking furniture out, doing everything, taking sheetrock out and all that. One of her neighbors across the street came over after we left, and she said, "Who was that group of people that were over here? It looked like a bunch of ants out here, just, you know." And she said, "Well, that was my church." And she says, "Does your church only help their church family members?" She said, "No, they help whoever needs help." And so I actually had an opportunity to go out and meet with her on Friday, and her house is the one we're starting on tomorrow, on Monday. And so it's just amazing the things that have happened. And I just, I just felt like I'd maybe share a couple of things with you. Um, the first house that we showed up to was a very sweet, dear lady in our church. She didn't need a whole lot of work, but she needed some work. She needed some sheetrock cut out. She needed some a tarp on her roof and some different things like that. And when I first walked in and started looking at everything, and I looked at her. You're just gonna have to bear with me because I get emotional about this. I looked at her and I said, "We're here, and we're gonna take care of you. You don't need to worry about it. We're gonna take care of everything that you need for us to take care of." You know what she said? She said, "Pastor, I knew my church would come through for me." She said, "I've been there for 38 years. I've never asked my church for anything. But," she said, "in my time of need, you're here." And I'm like, praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. That's what we're supposed to be doing. And so we were able to finish up that job pretty quick. And it was funny because we were getting ready to leave. And she said, "Pastor Bruce," she said, "I need to let you know there's a place in the parking lot out there that it's in the handicap that has a spike sticking up." And she said, "I pulled in there and then I backed out and it pulled my bumper out on my car." And I said, "My goodness, where is it? And we'll try to get it taken care of." So she told me, but I said, "Well, is your car drivable?" Well, she said, "Well, I drove it home from church and I got to get it to the body shop, but," she said, "the bumper's kind of hanging off of it." And I said, "Well, let me go look at it." So I was able to actually go and help her put her bumper back on her car. So, we don't only do mitigation, we do body work here at Braeswood. We do body ministry, right? So, then we were able to go to another house and help them. And one of our pastors was there, and she said, she said, "One of my friends lives right down the street." She said, "Could we help her if she needs help?" I said, "Absolutely, call her." She tried to get a hold of her, and she couldn't get a hold of her. But so we went to the next house, and as we are doing that job, we're doing all kinds of stuff. We're moving furniture. We were pulling up wood flooring that was glued down so tight that I can't even imagine. And we're sitting there with it. Well, you can see in some of these other pictures, we're sitting there with chisels, and hammers trying to pull this flooring up. And so we're doing all this work. Again, somebody across the street. You know what happened with that one, right? With that one. And I want you to tell about that because somebody across the street came and said, "Hey, can you help us too?" I'm like, "Sure, that's what we're here to do." But in that house, what I wanted to tell you, and I asked Dr. D if he had something, and Pastor Ruben, if you have something to share, then it's testimony time. Dr. Raymond was able to help us. Dr. Moses is in here. If you guys have anything that you want to say, then we want to hear it. I want to hear your stories too, because we've had a team of usually 12 to 15 people that have been going out, and we're all together, but we all are like, "Okay, you go over there and start working on that room. You go over there and start working on that room." And so, I don't even know some of the other stories that have happened. But we're sitting there and we're pulling this wood up, and it's beautiful, beautiful original hardwood floors. And I'm talking to this guy, and I said, "So now, who are you? Are you a company?" He said, "Well, I have a company, but I'm just trying to help trying to help these people." And I said, "Well, we're going to jump in here and help you if that's okay." He goes, "Oh man, is it okay? Yeah, get in. Yeah, we need all the help we can get." So I'm talking to him a little bit, and he's like, "So you guys, what are y'all? Where are y'all here for?" And I said, "Well," we're church. We're Braeswood Church, and I said, these folks are some of our family members. And he goes, man, really? He goes, you know, I used to go to church. And I said, well, that's awesome. I said, you know, where do you live? And he said, I live in Pearland. He said, but I'm pretty sure, I don't know if the church that I went to would do something like this. And I said, well, you're just the guy to go in there and help them get something going. I said, why don't you think about going back and talking to them and seeing if they could use you to help them put together a team like this? And he's like, well, I never thought about that, you know. Well, anyway, as we're talking, you know, I find out, I ask, here's me, dummy me. I'm like, you know anything about these wood floors? He goes, yeah, a little bit. And I said, well, this is original hardwood floor. They told me when I was talking to my builder that you couldn't put these in Houston because of the moisture. He said, they just tell people that. He said, if you use this glue right here, he said, you're not going to have any movement. And he said, you leave the gaps around the walls, you're not going to have any movement and everything. And he goes, and by the way, water on top of this floor is not the problem. He said, you could flood the top of this floor and it would be fine. He said, it's the water that goes underneath the wood in the floor in between the grooves and the glue, and that water gets underneath there and it develops mold and bacteria and everything else. That's why we're having to tear this floor out. I said, man, you really do know some stuff about flooring. He goes, yeah. He said, I'm the one who installed this floor for them 7 years ago. I'm like, oh, okay. But anyway, so we get ready to leave, and I said, hey, Sean, I said, you mind if I just had a word of prayer with you? And he said, no, man, that'd be awesome. So I had an opportunity to pray with him. I think there was another one of our pastors there, and we just laid hands on him, prayed for him, prayed blessings over him for helping this family, prayed blessings over his business, and that God would just lead him and guide him and take him back to that church that he's a part of and help him get involved. So anyway, that was an awesome opportunity. Then I walk outside. We're getting ready to leave, and I see this guy standing out there, and you know he's kind of he just looks like an insurance adjuster. I had seen these guys kind of walking around the house. So anyway, I walk out there and I go, and I'm walking past him. I'm like, how you doing? He's like, I'm doing great. He goes, what are you guys doing? I said, well, we're with the church. We're helping some of our family members. He goes, man, I don't know if my church does anything like this. And I said, well, you might ought to talk to them and see if they do. And I said, because, what are you doing? Are you an insurance adjuster? He goes, well, I retired 8 years ago, but was an insurance adjuster for years, for 30, 40 years. And he said, but I'm realizing I'm with my friend who's an insurance adjuster. I'm just kind of walking around, following him around. And he said, I'm realizing that this is not a young man's job. And I said, really? He goes, yeah, I'm retired 8 years ago. He goes, man, everything on me's hurting. My back's hurting, everything's hurting. And he said, my back's killing me. I said, really? I said, do you believe in divine healing? He goes, well, I said, well, I'm just going to tell you, I believe God can heal you. I believe he can touch you and he can heal you. And I said, can I pray with you? He's like, well, it couldn't hurt. I'm like, no, couldn't hurt. So I got to have a word of prayer with him. And just, stories like that just have happened over and over. We were able to, I think one of the slides is, one of the things you saw in the video, we went over, this was our job on Friday. We went over, and this house, this is one of our members' houses, and we went over there, and there was one guy in there, and he had all this plywood that was down in the floor. They had already had the sheetrock mitigated. They'd already had everything done, but they had the subfloor that they had down that must have been there. They must have had a wooden floor or something in there. Anyway, this was 1-inch sheets of plywood, and it was stuck down with tar to the floor. And you know, this guy was in there when I walked in, and he had like one little section of one room that he had pulled a couple of sheets of plywood out of, and he was sweating, and he was, man, and this was the lady's son, and he was in there by himself doing this. So I went over, first of all, to see what we were looking at, and I said to you, I said, our team is willing to come over here and help you today get this stuff up if you want us to. He goes, man, that would be awesome. I said, okay, we're going to go get some tools. Because, you know, you never know what tools you need until you actually get there on some of these jobs. So Pastor Ruben has been awesome this week. I mean, anything we've needed as far as tools, he goes and finds it, you know. And, you know, I might as well tell you some of these tools are not readily available right now because everybody's using them. So crowbars and different things like that, some of it's hard to find. But Pastor Ruben, he goes on a search, and he finds whatever tools we need and gets them there for us. So I got back, asked Pastor Ruben, told him what we needed. He left to go do that. And then we went over there, and we started working. And I've got to be honest with you, and I told the team this too. I told them, I said, I'm just going to tell y'all, this is going to be the toughest. We've done some tough stuff. This is going to be the toughest. I'm just telling you right now. So just get ready. And I said, and I'm sure you better just plan on this being a whole day job, because, I mean, it is such slow work. I mean, you're taking chisels and driving it underneath there, and this tar has got that stuff stuck down so hard that we're trying to just pry it up and pull it up, and it's breaking in little sheets about this big, and you know, it's a whole 4-bedroom house. And so anyway, we go in there. But you know what? Here's what I found out too about this group, about this response team. They go in there and they figure out what needs to be done, and then they get a system. And man, it's just like there's a rhythm that they get into, and it just starts happening. And so I'm in one part of the house, and it's starting to get about, you know, close to lunchtime. And I said, okay, everybody, I said, let's go ahead and break for lunch. And so I asked the guy that was there, I said, would you like to come to the church and have lunch with us? He goes, well, no, I'm just going to stay here and finish this. I said, you're going to finish it? And he goes, yeah, we've only got like 3 sheets left, 3 small little sheets left. I said, seriously? And the whole rest of the house is done? He said, yeah, this is it. And I said, well, we're staying here and finishing this, and then we'll go to lunch. I mean, that took another, 15 minutes to get that up. And so we finished the whole house in a half a day. And I asked him if we could pray for him. That was one of the things you saw in the video, where we all gathered around him outside and we just laid hands on him and prayed over him. And it's so funny. One of our ladies not funny. I mean, it's awesome. One of our ladies who we had helped 2 days before that came and wanted to be a part of our team to go out on Friday. So, I told her, I said, I don't want you lifting anything. I don't want you doing I don't want you to hurt yourself. But I said, I want you to be our prayer warrior today. I want you to pray over us that we'll be safe, that nobody will get injured. And I said, and I also want you to be the hydration monitor. In other words, because when you get out there and you start working and you're sweating and everything else, you don't think about, just hydrating yourself and drinking water. And so I said, you know what else? I said, you know how like when the surgeons are in the operating room and you see them on TV and they got the assistant that comes up there and does this? I said, that's what your job is today. And I'm not kidding you. I'm in there and I'm sweating and I'm doing all this. She comes in, she goes, Pastor Bruce, stand up. I said, okay. She pulls my hat up. She goes, here. I said, thank you. So it's just been so awesome what God has allowed us to do. But then she was there, and so she prayed over him. She prayed over that young man and over their family, and it's just and you know what? I asked him. I said, "Now before we leave, I just want to make sure: is there anything else that we can do to help you?" He goes, "Pastor, what you've done is a miracle. This is a miracle, what's happened today." And I said, well, miracles still happen. Miracles still happen. And we're just glad to be a part of it. We're blessed. So anyway, I wanted to tell you a few of those things. I'm sorry, guys, I don't have time for anybody else to share. I got a little bit carried away. But I want y'all to talk with Dr. D and Pastor Ruben and Dr. Moses and Dr. Raymond. And by the way, if you have helped us on one of our on our response team, would you stand up this morning? Would you just stand? These are all of our response team workers who have helped us. Oh, these are not all of them. These are the ones that are here in this service. Thank you on behalf of all of these people who have needed help, and on behalf of Pastor Steve and Braeswood Church. And I'm so thankful that our pastor has said, look, you guys, I know you have actually a job to do around here, but put those things on hold and go out and help people. And he's allowed us to do that, and I'm so thankful for that. I want to do one last thing, and that is, and as I think the order of this is that I need to receive an undesignated missions offering. We normally do that on the first Sunday of every month, but we did not do that last Sunday. And some of you may know that we have commitments of about $16,000 every month to our missionaries. So I want to do that right now real quick.